Hello, hello, Citadel family and friends, and welcome back to Live at 5. Can you believe it has been 4 months since the launch of this show? That's it. Come on, gather around. Everybody get together. I'm back on this set, and I'm excited about another opportunity to share our announcements and uplift some of the milestones and achievements from our church. Live at 5 was birthed out of the need to stay connected as the world was pushed into social distancing, and my pulpit was pushed into this living room parlor. During these 4 months, we've been able to bring you a variety of work, some humorous and some, as of late, somber. We've laughed together, we've hosted graduations, celebrated birthdays and anniversaries. We've also mourned together in this time. And you all have had the first look of media and exclusive interviews from the grounds of Brunswick, Georgia, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Houston, Texas, and Atlanta, GA. I want to celebrate you all for being with us and supporting us every step of the way by watching, by liking, and by sharing. So welcome back to Live at 5. I want to kick off this show with some birthdays. Yes, we have some coming up in this month of July. Samuel Wilson celebrated his birthday earlier this week. On the 1st, my mother, Mama Drumwright, is celebrating her birthday on the 21st. Sister India is celebrating a birthday on the 22nd, and our brother Brandon on the 25th. So happy birthday to Sam, and to those of you all who are coming up, we're excited to celebrate your birthday later this month. If there are perhaps some more birthdays we are unaware of, just let me know. You got a little time to get them in. We want to celebrate you and remind you to have a wonderful, wonderful, sober birthday. That's right. Oh, moving right along. I want to uplift some of the boss women that we have at the Citadel. That's right. Some of our women that are making big moves in the Triad area, and I am so proud of them. So I'm going to surprise them today, and let's just take a look, and I would like to take the time to kind of like highlight their accomplishments. First up, Tiara Allen. That's right, Tiara, the innovator of hair and skin prosperity. I got some of that on right now. That's right, all of her products are not only made by hand, but by faith. And she just dropped some new lotions and potions. Here's a clip.
See, I promise you're making it harder than it need to be. It don't have to be that hard. It's simple. Next time you see a female you want to talk to, just encourage her. Tell her something good. Walk up to her and say this to her. You glow, girl. Don't act like you don't know, girl. Yeah, you shining. You a diamond. I'm finna put y'all on game real fast.
I can't do nothing with it. I am excited. Do you see these powerful images of these amazing, talented, and gifted, strong Black women? These are absolutely beautiful images. Thank you so much. Hair, skin, and prosperity behind the innovative and artistic work of Sister Amani Lane. That's right. The next boss woman we are highlighting is Amani Lane. She is the CEO and the innovator of Black Girl Blessed, where she focuses on honoring women of color through faith and art. That's dope. During this era, I have watched her blossom as she shares her artwork with the entire world. And if you're local to the Greensboro area, you will find some of her work downtown. Let's take a look at what she's been up to in these streets.
Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
And I just basically want to get a tie-in on what's going on today. Here we go.
So we're painting Black Lives Matter downtown, and each of us have a letter and just kind of customizing it to things that are important and special to us as Black artists. I have the E in Matter, and so we were talking about doing Ruby Bridges and just kind of in education, because you know knowledge is power.
Okay. Well, do you ladies have anything you want to say? Or?
Yeah, no, I'm just excited to be out here with other Black artists and getting our voices out there and standing up for something that we think is important.
Excellent. You know, just as a side comment, and obviously being me, being a white boy, I was surprised they did the One Love thing. You know?
Well, we actually all worked on that.
Right, yeah.
And I don't mean disrespect.
No,
I don't mean that at all. But my first thought was stand up Greensboro. You know, I'm from the north.
Right.
Only been here 8 years, so I'm still learning,
Well,
you know.
the problem with that is, one, we don't necessarily have to punch people in the face just to get them to understand the message. And then Greensboro's not paying for it.
Oh, is that
So,
okay?
Yeah.
I mean, we could have put, you know, BLM, we could have put Black Lives Matter out there as well, but it was more we're in the sun or hot. That mural is huge.
That's amazing.
And also, I met this guy there, and he was saying that he loves the One Love message because people that come by and see it hates me and him. And he was a white male.
Yeah.
So he was referring to his sexuality. So that's another branch of the One
Yeah.
Love.
Amen.
And pulling in the LGBTQ community. So that, I mean, they could definitely fall in it in Black Lives Matter. But I feel like that message of One Love especially brings in the problem of us having Pride Month right now.
Yeah.
That just
Right.
ties it all in together.
Smart.
And I think the hidden message that a lot of people aren't getting, that Philip Marsh wanted to tie into that was that he's talking about Bob Marley during the time when he was assassinated.
Yeah.
And an assassination attempt happened, and he still went out there and did his set and performed. And so
That's right.
that One Love is supposed to represent resilience. And
Were you alive then?
No, I was
I remember that. Okay, hold it. Now I just want to do your names one more time.
My name is Angela Harris.
I didn't get good
not.
visual.
Ryan Oakley.
Imani Lane.
And I'm Dale Briggs. And I promise you it'll look good.
Thank you to these images from Mr. Dale Briggs. We snagged some of his media work to highlight what Imani and her colleagues have done in downtown Greensboro, North Carolina. Yeah, Black Girl Blessed is doing her thing, all about the city. Imani Lane, we are so proud of what you're doing. We know that it takes a lot to do these murals, and there's not a lot of preparation that always go into these major events, but we cannot tell This is amazing. I am referring her work to everybody who's looking for artists that can get something like this done. What an amazing thing it is to find a greater purpose in the midst of this pandemic. And we are saluting you, Imani Lane. Also, we are saluting Tiara Allen. These are some amazing Citadel women in this time. A few weeks ago, we also had a chance to celebrate and uplift the media work of Sierra. And you've seen all three of those ladies there from the Citadel. Can you put that back on the screen? That's right. Woo! Gosh, this is a really, really, really powerful image of the work that these young women have been putting in, even in the midst of a pandemic. You can still find your purpose. So don't hate. Let's celebrate, because you're next. You could be the next person that we're featuring, that we're bragging all about. And I love it. Black women, you do rock. And like I said, I got some potions and lotions on from what Tiara is doing. Tiara, I'm excited about that new line that you're birthing there. Keep up the good work, all three of you. All right, so justice for the next generation has rolled into town. That's right, after 5 weeks of being on the road. We thought we'd get a little rest here at home, but duty calls. I began to receive messages and DMs from folks right here in the Piedmont Triad area, more specifically in my hometown. Burlington, Alamance, Graham, North Carolina right now is on fire. That's right, there's a Confederate monument that I passed going to and from school, work, and church all my childhood. Me, like most of the people in all of these cities here, didn't even take time to notice the Confederate memorial that's right there in the court square of Graham, North Carolina. So starting last Sunday night, we were up really late with the people in my hometown of Burlington, North Carolina, who asked, can you come and help us to organize around tearing that monument down and the other issues of systemic oppression and racial bias. And I already knew about much of that. So our demand is that this statue come down, but that's very low-hanging fruit when you realize the racial suppression that has caused many of our Black and brown people to suffer. So we went out today just to kind of feel around a little bit, catch a vibe, to connect with people. And I want to tell you a little bit more about that on the other side of just this media, because not everybody was there to support.
Tell me one day in American history where a white life didn't matter. Every day of my life, white lives have mattered. Every day of my life.
These are images that came, yes, out of Graham, North Carolina today. That just happened a few hours ago. We haven't been back to prepare for Live at 5 for too long. Young man, well, a gentleman there that came into our demonstration to uplift all lives mattering. I continue to ask this question. Some of you all already know what I'm about to say. Tell me one day in America where white lives haven't mattered. And so when we're met with detractors like that and folks like we met last Saturday at the 311 Speedway, it has been It has been so gratifying to have a crew of folk that are putting their bodies on the line to uplift exactly how much Black Lives Matter. There's some more images that came out of our Graham mini demonstration today. I want to share them with you at these times. These are some of the still shots. Our brother Stephen and Keon was in the streets with us today with a silent protest, also lifting their voice. This is the Confederate monument that is heavily guarded. This monument is heavily guarded, and we want to see this monument come down. We were joined by white demonstrators. You've seen them there in the video, standing up to members from their own community that are there to posit unrest. And I'm so grateful to know that members of the white community continue to display solidarity with us. This is a family from Salisbury, North Carolina, the Ford family, the Ford and the Brown family there. The lady there in the black all the way to the right side of the screen. Today was her birthday, and she came out to celebrate her birthday with Black Lives Matter demonstrators. Y'all, that's Miss Ford, and those are her daughters and one of the friends of the family, and they were eager. She told us that they could not wait to come all the way to Graham, North Carolina to stand with us and celebrate and uplift Black Lives Mattering, okay? And so what is really interesting about the Ford and Brown family is that in Salisbury, North Carolina, they are about to bring down the monument. Their city council elected to bring down the monument in Salisbury, and then they're going over to Lexington. Lexington, a little bit north of them, 85 North, is voting this week on Thursday, July 9th, as to whether or not they're going to remove their Confederate statue. And hopefully by this time next week, we will have more movement out of Graham, North Carolina regarding that statue. So let me just tell you what's going on in Graham as it relates to justice for the next generation. As a result of being asked to come back home and pull the community together for a great display of unity around organizing, we will be hosting the March for Justice and Community Unity. That's right, in Graham, North Carolina, next Saturday, 1 week from today. The Burlington Alamance March for Justice and Community Unity. Justice for the Next Generation is working in partnership with several organizations to make this a monumental event. Saturday, July the 11th, 2020 at 11 a.m. This is a 1.5 mile march. We're gathering at 11, and our march culminates at the Graham Court Square at 12:30. Let me tell you something about this court square. It's so significant. There was a gentleman that I want to uplift, Mr. Wyatt Outlaw. Mr. Wyatt Outlaw, in my meeting on last Sunday, I began to just ask them about the narratives. I needed to know a little bit more about the history that I wasn't even exposed to in my own hometown. And I began to ask them, who were our first elected Black public officials? I knew that there had been one or two in my lifetime. However, they immediately told me about Wyatt Outlaw, who was publicly lynched on February 26, 1870. Mr. Outlaw was the first publicly elected servant, and he was also a minister. And while we thought we would just encounter a few people today, we were met with a lot of people who were there to show us support. And one of the things that's going to be so significant for me in leading this march. That's right. I am so proud to say that I will be leading the march and offering the keynote address next week. Is that when we turn the corner to march down North Main Street, that is the exact march that they made Mr. Outlaw walk down on the way to his lynching there in the courthouse square. And so I need you all in these streets. That's right, Citadel. I hope you're not tired of demonstrating. I hope you're not tired of lifting your voice. This is something that's not new. For all of you all who are thinking, hey, Pastor Drumwright is just really consumed with this right now, maybe you haven't been at the Citadel long enough to know that this has been going on long before some of you all got to our church, that I've been leading marches and demonstrations since the early 2000s. That's right. I remember leading a march across Greensboro, across the campus of North Carolina A&T in Greensboro, rather, marching for our rights as students, marching against tuition tuition increases, let me say it like that, and marching for raises for our professors and instructors there at North Carolina A&T, marching in Raleigh, marching in Washington, D.C., marching up and down the East Coast. As a matter of fact, when we got back to Greensboro a week and a half ago, I had blisters on the bottom of my feet because of all the marching that we've been doing on the road. I want you all to respect what is going on right now. This is a global uprising, a demand, a call for justice, equity, and equality. So let's travel 25 minutes down the road next Saturday. Citadel, Justice for the Next Generation is an outgrowth of our ministry. And so I need you there if you want to be there in a working capacity. Will you help me to convene this march? That's right. We're going to need people that are identified as staff that will help us to pull the people together, keep the people together. We're asking everyone to join the entire community as we call for an end to racial oppression. There's going to be a host of speakers and other talent as well. So one more time, the Burlington Elements March for Justice and Community Unity is 1 week away, July the 11th at 11 a.m. That flyer is on my social media. It's on my IG. Will you please share it freely? So you all might be wondering, is he going to say anything about the holiday today? Okay, I know it. It's July 4th. It's actually probably what I'm sitting with more than anything. It's my brother's birthday. And in these streets in Graham today, I wanted to uplift some of the organizers who were doing the business before we got there. So one more thing about that march in Graham, I want you to know who our sister DeWanna Bigelow is, because you're going to see her next week, and then we'll talk about July 4th.
Don't think that because he was gunned down that Ahmaud Arbery's death wasn't a lynching. It was also a lynching. Lynchings don't just have to happen with Bubba ropes.
Right.
Come on now. A lynching is an unjust, unmerited homicide, an unmerited murder. And so we're going to be standing in these streets next week. There are organizers like DeWanna Bigelow. Y'all give DeWanna a hand. Y'all turn them cameras on her. DeWanna, can you come and just tell us what you've been doing? Because people are watching on Facebook, and I just want to uplift DeWanna. Yeah, I'll put you on the spot. You know how to use it. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Greg and Quinlan, for the platform of today and for giving us an opportunity to come out here and to gather in more numbers. I truly believe that there is strength in numbers.
Mm-hmm.
You take one and then it'll be 3. You take 5 and then it'll be 10. You get 15 is 20.
That's right.
So this right here shows me that we are moving forward.
Yeah.
And that we're not going to back down. All we're asking for is our is the right to be equal.
That's right.
It's 2020.
That's right.
It is 2020, and we're still begging to be equal. That is not a whole lot, y'all. And please do not forget that. We are just begging to be equal and to be united and to be empowered and have the same tools as everybody else.
That's right.
This statute right here tells me that I'm less than. This statute tells me that my ancestors are less than. This statute tells me and my family that white supremacy still reigns.
That's right.
I have a problem with that in 2020.
That's right.
And for anybody that is unwilling to say that yes, Black lives do matter, that's my cause.
All right.
So whatever I can do to help anybody out, I do not have an organization that I'm running with to actually start, to be a part of this movement. I'm just one person with a few supporters. We started out on, I think it was May 30th. We had the first event in Alamance County, the first Black Lives Matter event in Alamance County. It was at North Park. A lot of the Burlington officials did come out and they stood with us and they were in solidarity. They took a knee with us for those 8 minutes, I think 46 seconds. They denounced anything that was against anyone thinking that Black lives did not matter. So it was a big a turning point. And now to be on July the 4th and we're still making headway.
That's right.
I just want to say, do not give up.
That's right.
You are beautiful. The Black lives, the brown lives, the white lives that I see right here that are in support of standing for those who are being victimized and being murdered and being lynched.
That's right.
I think you all are beautiful. You all are welcome to anything that we're doing in relation to stopping the injustice of colored people or Black people or Negro people or however you choose to see it.
Right.
I prefer Black people, but I appreciate everybody for standing with us and still marching and still pumping the fist and just still behind the scenes the things that are happening. We appreciate you guys. And I ask you all, if you support what I'm doing, please come out on next Saturday and also support these guys. It's the same cause, the same mission, and I would invite you all out here on next Saturday at 11 a.m. If you want to start the march starts on Maple Avenue at the old Granddaddy's Antique Store. If you want to start there and march on down with us, please do. If you want to just meet in Graham and find you a chair somewhere and just post up and wait enough to come back, I encourage you to do so. And thank y'all again.
Happening in Graham is also happening all over the country. But I want you all to join me right here next to home and help us to stomp out racism. We're going to be marching with a purpose on this past weekend. And this is the first official event, the first official march, rather, let me say it like that, that Justice for the Next Generation is solely organizing, or shall I say, initiating and activating. Of course, we are working with other orgs, but this is our first march that we have put together. We have put other demonstrations together, so on and so forth. You all know about the work that we did last week at the 311 Speedway. That work has been viewed on Facebook. That video has gone viral, and I've given more interviews to newspapers and television stations all around, more than I can actually put a number on right now. So if you haven't caught up with that newsreel, please go ahead and Google some of the stuff that's been going on this week and some of the media attention that's been placed upon the message to end white supremacy, especially in the NASCAR racing sport. You all may have caught wind of the Associated Press article that is now being seen on news medium outlets all over the country. Talks with NASCAR corporate did ensue this week. They are ongoing, and we are hoping that we will be able to develop a strategic partnership with NASCAR corporate once we are able to sit down with the president, Stephen Phelps. Right now we're speaking with two of his vice presidents and his lieutenants, and we're looking forward to continuing those conversations as we have placed a demand on them. we want to speak with President Phelps because he's been so outspoken about his displeasure around that noose that was found in Talladega. There's a race coming up and we plan to be there. So you all please stay tuned to everything that's going on regarding that conversation and the movement of justice for the next generation. Speaking of, in 2020, how are we feeling about Independence Day? Yep, July 4th. I would have to say today is not my Independence Day, and I know that that's the sentiment of a lot of people. Many people were still slaves on this day. And in 2020, we're still fighting for our basic human rights. In 2020, in an America of today, as people, we still don't share the same ideas of freedom. And here's a clip.
Anybody burning an American flag, black or otherwise, I'll hate crime you so hard that you'll be calling yourself Kunta Kinte. So let's grow the a little bit. Burning a flag is going to do nothing but get you, your stomped even blacker, or dead. Because the funny thing is, you American hating assholes, go to any other country and see how you're treated as an African American. We gave you freedom, you dumb, unthankful pieces of shit. So you can thank us, the Republicans, for letting you act like you are right now. Because I guarantee if we were able to have slavery again, I'd make you all slaves just so you wouldn't act and destroy our cities anymore. You make us regret abolishing slavery. So that's pretty good job, guys. And before you illiterate blow up my DMs like I give a about your opinion on Black Lives Matter, just know I don't. I don't give a about any of you. I give a about my city, where I grew up for 33 years, that you're destroying. That's all I give a about. I give a about the safety of my son and my family. The one you idiots are putting in jeopardy by acting like animals. So, no, you. I don't care about your DMs. Block me if you don't like what I have to say. The truth hurts. Burn a flag, burn a black person, I say.
Well, happy Independence Day, Black America. This is a clip that was posted not from the 50s and 60s, but you guessed it, right here in 2020. And it is truly way beneath me to unpack everything and all of the insults and the threats to Black lives that was communicated across that clip. I just want you all to understand why this justice work is lingering on. I just want you all to understand why we are still in these streets. I want you all to understand why we have carved out so much space in our ministry and in our doings to uplift Black Lives Mattering. I may have been misunderstood along the way because of all the press that we've gained, because of all of the attention that we've drawn to this subject about justice. But I seem to remember for myself that we're right on target. That when we were calling for justice out of our sanctuary, and we were calling for justice across our media platforms, we prayed that God would put our work in the wind. And now that God is doing it, Citadel, I want you all not to get weary in well-doing, because there are people out there, just like the one that you just heard from, that believe in everything that we are not saying, that believe completely opposite of what we are doing, that believe that we should shut up and sit down and be quiet and be obedient. People that believe that we should be inferior. People that believe that burning an American flag, which we have not done, should equate to black death. I want you all to understand that it is really important for us to continue to press our way on. On this Independence Day, I just want to uplift one thing, a quote from the Declaration of Independence, that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. There's a lot of suspicion in my mind about what that means to white America and their perspectives on black America. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Can you all actually say that you live in an America that truly uplifts those three tenets from the Declaration of Independence? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. No, we are sending a message. Get your knees off of our necks. And because knees have been on our necks, because nooses have been around our necks in Atlanta, Georgia, because people who are sworn in to protect and serve are killing our black men and our black sisters, in that particular case, standing on our shoulders. What are we understanding about all of those images? And those are not hypothetical examples. Those are actual accounts that a knee in George Floyd's neck took his last breath, and that after gunning down Rayshard Brooks in a Wendy's drive-thru, the officer stood on his shoulders. These images, these consistent lynchings, is meant to keep us suppressed, to keep us subjected, to keep us under the feet of white supremacy and the prevailing racism and racial bias that has been so long standing in our country. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's what we don't have yet, America. And that's why today is not our day of independence. Even though it passed already, I want to uplift what was. Juneteenth. June 19th, known as Freedom Day. June 19th, Jubilation Day. June 19th was the Emancipation Day for many slaves. It was first established in Galveston, Texas, June 19th, 1865, because enslaved Texans were unaware of their emancipation until 2 years after the law was passed to free slaves. Aren't you glad that you live in these days and times where word can travel so much faster than that? Can you imagine waiting 2 years to hear that you had been freed by the government? The Union Army General Jordan Granger read a General Order 3, ushering a new era into the U.S. New era meaning absolute equality for rights, rights of property between former masters and slaves, changing the connection between former slave and master to the employee and hired worker. These rights were changed. The dynamics of these relationships between slave master and slave all of a sudden were equalized in theory, but we know in practice, not then and still not today. In the celebration of Juneteenth, the slaves literally threw their torn garments into the creeks and would wear the clothes that belonged to their former slave masters. So, since 1865, Juneteenth has grown into a grand celebration in which descendants make an annual pilgrimage to Galveston, Texas. I have a little bit of history with Galveston, Texas. Just a few years ago, I think about 3 summers ago, the people there in Galveston, Texas actually honored me on Juneteenth. And in that celebration list of honorees was not only myself, but was President Barack Obama. What a wonderful honor it is to say that the folks there in Galveston, Texas have learned and uplifted the work that is going on out of the Citadel of Praise here in Greensboro, North Carolina. Even though it's past, I have heard people saying that we should celebrate Juneteenth, not just on it, but all the way to July 4th. So, happy Juneteenth, Citadel. I hope that you all will join us as we continue to march for justice, as we continue to march for equality, as we continue to march for our rights, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I have enjoyed this live at 5. I'm going to let you get back to the rest of your day, and I'm probably going to get a good little Juneteenth meal in, get some rest. Listen, tomorrow, you all know what happens every Sunday at 3 p.m. It's time to celebrate God. It's time to worship together. Citadel, don't get weary in well-doing. Stay connected. 3 p.m. every Sunday right here on this YouTube and Facebook Live. Also on Monday nights, our men's and women's empowerment meetings take place. If you want the link to those meetings, look on our website, citadelofpraise.com. Those meetings take place at 7:30 on Monday Eastern Standard Time. Every single Wednesday, we pray at 7 a.m. Our morning glory prayer on Wednesday takes place at 7 a.m. and Wednesday evenings is Wow Night, Word on Wednesday. Glory to God. I hope you all will join us for all of those occasions, all of those events. This morning, we had an amazing boiler room prayer experience that happens every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. The last thing I want to ask you to do is sow and support. That's right. You all, we are working so hard, and we've been working so consistently to keep you connected. And one thing that you can do is let us know that you are in support of our ministry. It's so important for you all to give your tithe and your offering so that Citadel continues to operate in the black and not in the red. Please sow and support our ministry. Sign up for our text alerts. If any of this information bypasses you before you have a chance to get to it, all of it is on our website, citadelofpraise.com. Listen, happy Juneteenth to all of you all. Happy birthday to my brother and the rest of those birthdays that are upcoming. Black Girl Blessed, Hair and Skin Prosperity, and Sierra Kane Media. We celebrate you today in everything that you're doing and the rest of the work that's going on in and around the Citadel. I'm going to be bragging on more of you all in times to come. God bless you. This has been Live at 5 with Pastor Greg Drumwright. You all, God bless you. Grace, mercy, and peace be unto you, and Black Lives Matter.